Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. It is an honor and privilege to be the part of this occasion. I, Kirti, student of 2nd BBA LLB, extend a very hearty welcome to one and all present here. We appreciate all the participants in taking a keen interest in the training session organized by KLA Law College. We'll make our best efforts to make our training effective in helping you profoundly to face your finals for Karnataka Judicial Service Examination. Of course, your active cooperation during the training period goes a long way in achieving the purpose. The whole initiative is at the earnest wish of His Lordship, Honorable Mr. Justice Abhay Shreeniwas Oka, Judge, Supreme Court of India, who always desired the young and able minds to accept the judicial service as their career option leading to the intellectual powerful judiciary. This training program in his knowledge of His Lordship, and he would be addressing you in a while from now. Now, I request our beloved principal, Dr. J.M. Mallikarjunaya, sir, to give the welcome address.
Good evening, my lord.
Good evening.
My lord, on 20th August 2022 at Bengaluru, we had organized this National Colloquium on Judicial Services. In continuation of that commitment, we have made a lot of efforts in creating awareness about judicial services. And now we have planned this training session for the candidates who have cleared their prelims. There are in all 32 candidates taking this training. My lord, this training goes for 7 days. It has started on 2nd. We will be concluding it on 7th. There are about 16 resource persons who are involved in this activity. The training is going on from 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock. At the end, there are a lot of assignments are also given to the candidates, and the candidates are coming from all over Karnataka. 50% of them are from Bengaluru, and rest of them are coming from different parts of the Karnataka. And they also have been housed in our KLE hostels, and the activity is going on, and we are looking forward for all the candidates to crack the final exam and the interview and be recruited as the civil judges. I profusely thank you, my lord, express my deep sense of gratitude for coming online and addressing the aspirants. A very hearty welcome to you, my lord.
Thank you.
And this session is being viewed by these trainees and also the students, my colleagues, and a lot of others of my college, a lot of students of my college being watching this program on our YouTube channel. I also take this opportunity to extend a very hearty welcome to all the trainee members, my dear students, and my dear colleagues. Thank you, my lord, for coming on screen. Thank you.
Now I call upon our faculty, Mr. Harsh Pratap, to introduce the guest. Please, sir.
Very good evening to one and all present here. Inspiring and guiding us in our quest of attaining excellence in the field of legal education, we have amidst us Honorable Mr. Justice Abhay Shreeniwas Oka, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Born on 25th May 1960, your Lordship completed BSc and Masters of Law from University of Bombay. Your Lordship got enrolled as an advocate on 28th June 1983 and thereafter started practicing in Thane District Court in the chamber of his father, Shreeniwas Oka. In the year 1985-86, your Lordship joined the chamber of Shri V.P. Tipnis, former Judge of Bombay High Court and former Lokayukta, where your Lordship has appeared in several important matters and in public interest litigations. Your Lordship was elevated as Additional Judge of Bombay High Court on 29th August 2003. Your Lordship got appointed as Permanent Judge on 12th November 2005. Your Lordship took oath as the Chief Justice of High Court of Karnataka on 10th May 2019. and subsequently took oath as judge of Honorable Supreme Court of India on 31st August 2021. On behalf of KLE Society Law College, Bangalore, I extend a hearty welcome to you, sir. Thank you.
Now I request your lordship to address the participants and enrich them with your words of wisdom.
Good evening, everybody. The principal of KLE Law College, Bengaluru, members of the faculty, students of the college. I see quite a number of students on the screen and the participants in this training course. I must start with complimenting KLE Law College for taking this initiative. I must say that by organizing, not only by organizing such workshops, but also by encouraging the students to think of taking up career in judiciary, this law college is rendering great service to the institution of judiciary. And I must compliment the principal, the office bearers of the society and faculty members for taking keen interest. I must confess that during last about 10 years, I have been to some extent criticizing our law college and law schools. The reason was that I found that most of the law schools and law colleges were making no effort to encourage the young students to think of joining judiciary or taking up judiciary as a career. But of late, colleges like KLE Law College and some of the other law schools have also started taking initiative and started encouraging the students to think of taking up career in judiciary. Friends, all of us must remember that our legal system needs good lawyers, no doubt about it. But our legal system also needs good judges, good law officers representing the state, good law teachers. And therefore, it is very important for the young students of law to know about the prospects of career in judiciary. Before I deal with practical aspects of career in judiciary, I am going to repeat what I said last year in function arranged by the same college in the college campus, and which I have been telling practically every law student whom I meet. I have been a judge for 20 years, judge of constitutional, three different constitutional courts for 20 years. And 20 years I have spent in the bar. I want to tell you from my personal experience that the work satisfaction you derive or you get by discharging duties as a judge is simply enormous. You cannot compare that with the work satisfaction you get as a lawyer. Please remember this forever. Now I come to the practical aspects. There are many young students whom I meet. They keep on telling me that, sir, what about reasonable income? Because they always look at the figures of income of highly successful members of the bar, and they keep on comparing the remuneration, salary, and perquisites you get as a judicial officer. Therefore, please remember one thing, that you have to decide whether you want to become a judge. And when you take that decision, take that conscious decision, please remember one thing, that you cannot compare the income of lawyers with the remuneration which judges get. The reason is that when you become a judge, you are rendering service to the public. It's a great public service to become a judge. And therefore, I told you that you get huge satisfaction, work satisfaction while you work as a judge. So never compare the remuneration which judges get with that of income of the lawyers. I want to share something more important with you when it comes to remuneration of the judges. Recently, I was heading a meeting of a committee constituted by Honorable the Chief Justice about the case management. And incidentally, Secretary of the Department of Justice was present in the meeting. After the meeting was over, we were having a chat over a cup of tea. The Honorable Secretary told me that now the starting pay, that is the pay which a newly appointed civil judge gets in his hand, is much more than the starting pay of officer who joins Indian Administrative Service. And there is a vast difference between the starting pay of a new IAS officer and newly appointed judicial officer. Judicial officer gets much more than what a newly recruited IAS officer gets. And apart from that, there are perquisites which are available. I remember as a judge of the Bombay High Court, I started this initiative in Maharashtra. We went to the Bar Council, we went to various law colleges and requested them to encourage the students to take up career in judiciary. At that time, we had made a study. I'm talking about 2016-17. We tried to find out from good engineering colleges. I am saying good engineering colleges, which will not include IITs. IITs have different standard. So we made inquiries with these engineering colleges about the starting pay which newly recruited engineer gets, especially those who are working in IT or those who have graduated as computer engineers or IT engineers or software engineers. We were told at that time that average salary, average packet to begin with, which engineer gets, is somewhere between 35,000 to 45,000. And in those days, the pay in hand of a civil judge was around 65,000. And now it will almost touch a lakh of rupees apart from other perquisites. Considering the fact that it's a public service, I personally feel that the remuneration and the perquisites which a judicial officer gets at the entry point is more than reasonable. So do not worry much about what you will get as remuneration and perquisites. There's no reason to worry about it. And as you know, after 10 years, there is substantial enhancement in the salary and perquisites. Now, why it is important to join judiciary? Some of you must have interned, some of you, those who have joined courses, they must have interned with some of the lawyers. Always, you will find that when two members of the bar or more than two members of the bar meet over a cup of tea, there is always a criticism of the judges, the criticism of judiciary. Even litigants keep on criticizing judiciary by saying that they don't get expeditious justice or they don't get quality justice. And that is a talk which takes place in the corridors of the court when lawyers meet in the corridor. They always make adverse comments about the quality of justice rendered by our courts. And therefore, it is very important for young law graduates to take up the challenge and to see that after we enter judiciary, you take all possible steps for improving quality of justice delivery system. It is very easy to criticize that our judges are not able to deliver quality justice. So therefore, I always felt that instead of criticizing the existing judges, some bright young law graduates should take up the challenge. And instead of offering criticism, try to become instrument of a positive change in the judiciary. And therefore, while I was Chief Justice in Karnataka High Court, I requested the Bar Council to take initiative. I requested the law colleges and law schools to take initiative. And that is how now this great initiative is taken by this law college, and now there is a training course going on. There is very interesting thing about judgeship or role as a judge. The interesting thing is that firstly, it's a great learning experience. Every day, I am telling you this from my experience, even in Supreme Court, that every day as judges, we learn something new. We learn something very fascinating about the legal position. We learn new concepts of law. So it's a great learning experience to become a judge. One more thing I want to tell young students, which I have been repeating during last 10 to 12 years. When you are a lawyer, you may be a very brilliant lawyer, you may be a very competent lawyer, you may have very sound knowledge of law. But when you are a lawyer, your performance is affected by several external factors. One factor is your own client. He wants you to argue a case or to conduct a case in a particular manner. Then you have an opponent who will always try to interrupt. Then you have a judge sitting on the dais. So these are the factors which control your performance. But when you are a judicial officer and you sit on the dais, no human being can control your performance. Only the law and conscience, your own conscience. These are the two things which will govern your judicial mind. And nobody can influence your judicial mind while you are sitting in the court and you are delivering a verdict in the case. So this is the beauty of job of a judge. You are completely independent. And your commitment is to the law, your commitment is to the constitution of the country. But otherwise, you are completely independent. And that's the beauty of job of a judge. Coming back to one more issue regarding service conditions. I keep on visiting judicial academies of various states. So there are young civil judges who are worried about the transfer policy. Because most of you must be aware that in all states, particularly all states, after a judge is stationed in a particular place for 3 years, he is normally transferred to some other place. And therefore, some of the young lawyers express apprehension about this transfer policy. As I told you, it's a public service. I'll give you an example of IPS officers and IAS officers. You know how prestigious is the job of IPS officer and IAS officer. Now, all of them during their early days, say first 15 to 20 years, they are subjected to frequent transfers. At least in judiciary, normally you won't be transferred for a period of 3 years. But when it comes to IAS officers and IPS officers, you will find that they undergo repeated transfers. So don't get too much bothered about the fact that after you join judiciary, you will be subjected to transfer policy. Because all public servants holding important posts are doing that. Now let me come to the second last point. You as a judge will be dealing with various cases. There will be family disputes, there will be criminal cases, there will be disputes between the husband and wife. And after you become a judge, you will find that if your approach is correct, if you are able to work very hard, you will be rendering several decisions or several judgments which will make you very happy. If you are able to resolve a long-standing partition dispute between various co-partners, in Hindu co-personary, it will give you great satisfaction of bringing old dispute to an end. So all in all, it's a very, very satisfying job. To become a judge, to do the work of judging the cases. So it's overall a very, very satisfying job. Now I come to the last point of today's address. The last point is this, that there are number of candidates who appear for examinations conducted by the High Court. Of course, adequate number of posts become available every year because there are retirements, and I hope and trust that very shortly we'll see a scenario where just strength of our civil and criminal courts will be increased. So there's no dearth of vacancies in the judiciary. But still, by the very nature of process, because there will be entrance tests and thereafter names will be shortlisted. Those who are shortlisted, they will be called for interview or interaction, and thereafter the final selection will take place. So it is not necessary that everyone who appears for the examination will be through and will be in the list of selected candidates. But don't get discouraged. Very importantly, by appearing for this judicial service examination, when you study for the examination, you will get exposure to different subjects in the field of law. Those who practice in district and taluka courts, most of them have specializations in the sense that if you are working with a lawyer who is having predominantly civil practice, then you tend to practice only on the civil side. Same is the case if you are practicing with a lawyer in the chamber of a lawyer who is practicing on a criminal side, then you tend to start learning very fast about the criminal matters. But this kind of exposure to the entrance exam will be very important for you, because if you are a civil practitioner, you will get exposure to the criminal law and vice versa. The knowledge you will acquire while studying for these examinations, or knowledge you will acquire when you participate in such training courses, will not go waste. This year, some of you may not be selected, but you can try again next year. And I must tell you that these examinations may appear to be difficult. The reason is that large number of students appear. But when it comes to selection process, normally all high courts are very careful in selecting the candidates. Now, importance is given while we conduct interviews. We give importance not to the capacity of the candidate to by heart and reproduce the sections or provisions of law. Our emphasis is to find out whether the candidate has understood the basic concepts of civil and criminal law. But that is very important. You may not be able to refer to a particular section, but if you conceptually know, for example, some question is asked in the interview to you, that question may be on which are the provisions regarding declaring a witness as hostile witness. You may not know the section number, but you must know the principles. And that is what we expect when we conduct interviews, that we want to select those candidates who have understood the fundamentals and basics of our law. He may not be aware of all the details, but what we want is, if the candidate has good knowledge of fundamentals in law, good knowledge of the basic principles of law, then it's a matter of time for him to go through the various legislations and to learn about it. But what is more important is approach and understanding of the legal concepts. So before I close, I wish a great success to all of you who are participating in this training workshop. I wish that most of you get opportunity to join judiciary, And even if some of you do not get that opportunity, I wish great success to those of you who will not get selected, because even if you don't get a chance this year, you will get a chance next year, and even otherwise also, you have a bright future in the legal profession. So while wishing all of you a very good luck, I again thank KLE Law College, Bengaluru for taking this initiative. And I'm sure that with the passage of time, maybe after 5 years or 6 years, the management of the college will be able to proudly tell everybody that this college has given large number of judges to the judiciary. I'm sure that that will happen with the kind of efforts which the college management is taking. So I thank everybody who is present today, and I take your leave while again wishing you a very good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Lordship. I'm sure that your advice and your words of wisdom will take us a long way in our profession endeavors. Now I request Mr. Mallikarjun, RM Advocate, High Court of Karnataka, to render vote of thanks. Please, sir.
A very good evening to one and all. Honorable Shri Justice Abhay Shreeniwas. The centric petal of this function, the aspirants of civil judges, teaching staff, non-teaching staff of KLE Law College, and all the students who have been gracing this occasion. It is not only my privilege, but I'm more delightful to extend the vote of thanks to our Lordship, who has graced this occasion virtually and having boosted all the aspirants who are here, right from the every nook and corner, as to what it that you will be learning during the program, and that the learning what you have come across would never go waste, and taking it to the next level of, if not this year, to the next year, which will never go waste, and be it in the profession or on the bench. My lords, have also enlightened you onto the monetary satisfaction on the one hand, on the other hand, the work satisfaction, the criticisms what you come across as a lawyer, and what wide powers you have once you come become as a judge, the more involvement and more justice-oriented work what could do. In addition to that, my lords, have also enlightened you that stop criticizing, be a change for positive. These words, which is invaluable words, which was the need of the hour for all our aspirants. My lords, I, on behalf of my esteemed institution, and more on behalf of those aspirants who have come down all along from throughout the state of Karnataka to make this function a very grand success. And nevertheless, on behalf of my teaching staff and non-teaching staff and the students of this KLE Law College, and at last, myself, my lords, on my behalf, I extend this hearty vote of thanks for having made this function a grand success.
Thank you.
I would be failing in my duty if I do not take out the name of our beloved principal for me, as I being the alumni of this college, for having extended support right from my studenthood, be it as a judge, be it as an advocate, or as a part-time lecturer, and now as a trainee to the civil judges. For all his support, we are able to make this achievement. So I would take this opportunity to extend my vote of thanks to our beloved principal, Sri J. Mallikarjunayya, on behalf of the Science and Institute. With this, I would be closing the session. My lords, with your permission, may I be permitted to close session, my lords?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Grateful, my lords.
Thank you, Malad. Vijay Kumar sir, thank you. Thank you for joining.